Yo, Hendo here, the Average Use Slo-Pitch. Today we're getting a chance to bring out the Pure Storm Shadow USA ASA bat. This has that pad technology that I believe Pure dropped it roughly a year ago. It might have been slightly longer. Either way, I've heard people kind of compare it to the Fib Tech from Monster as far as kind of the feel from a traditional kind of barrel. What you're going to find with it is you get a little bit more of kind of that trampoline to really help the ball carry. I found that it definitely has translated to more carry, maybe not necessarily more exit velo from their original kind of USA ASA models. But either way, it's always been a great feel, so excited to try this one out. On Pure's website, these currently come, I believe, anywhere from 25 to 27 ounce. They are all balanced, however, so we went with a 27 ounce model today, simply because I normally swing end load, Junior normally swings end load. We had a couple other guys out here today. I know most guys out here are kind of end load fans, so we figured let's go ahead and ensure the bat feels heavy enough without that load in order to perform the way we want it to. So 13-inch barrel on this. We're gonna go ahead, obviously all 52s here today with the USA ASA bat. We use the ZN Hycons out here. Those are 52 300s, just to somewhat simulate game performance. Obviously RBP balls have been used a decent amount, so whatever you see here, expect obviously increased performance once you have a no-kidding game type ball that hasn't been hit a whole bunch. But we've got about 65 degrees out. Somehow it's still crazy warm here in the middle of December, New Mexico. It was 28 degrees this morning, so it's crazy that we got this kind of weather. But balls, bats, everything was stored inside, so we should have no issues with breakage, anything like that. So let's go ahead, throw some swings on it, see what it's all about, come back with final thoughts. All right, we got the Pure Storm Shadow. Again, this is a 13-inch balanced. I believe balanced is the only option on Pure's website for this model here. However, you can go, I think it's 25 all the way to 27 ounce. So I chose 27 just because I typically like the heavier type end loads. So with it being a balance, I wanted a heavier bat. This does have Pure's pad technology. If you're not familiar with that, it's something that I think they've incorporated for like the last year or so. But it's, I'm not going to compare it to the Fib from Monster, but it gives you kind of that additional feel of like almost a trampoline effect versus like your traditional ASA bats or USA bats. So just kind of something to keep in mind. But again, all ZN Hycon 52 300s. We'll go ahead, cycle through probably about 75 to 100 swings here, and then we'll come back with final thoughts with the guys who swung it.
94 miles per hour.
It was a little towards the end, but it's got good forgiveness, and you can definitely feel that pad doing what it's supposed to on it.
89 miles per hour. 96 miles per hour.
That was more towards the sweet spot. Yeah, and great carry there, so.
86 miles per hour.
Dude, paint's flying off it.
99 miles per hour.
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, great forgiveness so far. I mean, I don't really feel like I've got the sweet spot just yet. I've swung some other, like the Hellfire, stuff like that from Pure, so I know what kind of ASA sweet spots typically feel like, but again, the pad tech they put in this definitely makes it forgiving. The last one was 99, and it definitely felt like it was low of the sweet spot. You could kind of feel it on the hands.
87 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour.
That felt more like the sweet spot there for sure.
86 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour.
Nice little knuckleball off that sweet spot, I feel like.
87 miles per hour. 92 miles per hour.
That one felt good. Yep, and there's the carry you want, right over our 360 fence. Pretty much no braking period with this one. At least that's what I can tell so far.
88 miles per hour. 101 miles per hour.
Nice.
86 miles per hour.
Did you say barrel length on it?
100 miles per hour.
That's a good one to end on. So, yeah, we'll throw this on the tester in a minute just so you can kind of see where it's at. Is this kind of where we're expecting to be for game performance? But it feels pretty good. It's got great forgiveness, which I really like about it. If you're somebody who swings an end load normally, you go with this, I would go up an ounce just because it's balanced. It does feel more like a 26 for me. I normally swing end load. And then the only downside, again, it could just be this one, but with these tackier barrels, I see this happen every now and then, but you can probably see We've got some of the paint gone on it, but again, there's no marks or anything on the actual glossy paint. It's just that kind of tacky layer, I think, kind of flaking off a little bit. But we'll go ahead, pick some of these balls up, come back, test it just so you can kind of see where it's at versus what it's allowed to be at, and then final thoughts. All right, and we obviously didn't test our Storm Shadow before we swung it, but we at least want to let you see where it's at now so you have an idea of, hey, is this thing broken in based on how we swung it, or does it still need more swings? Is it going to get better? All that kind of stuff. So obviously, usual blade tester, I'll give you all the conversions here in a second. That sits it at 0. And now it's sitting just under probably like 210. And so 210 on our little converter tells us, we're going to call it 207 for the sake of that. It's a direct conversion. But either way, that's 1400. So it's somewhere between 1400 and 1425. If you go to the USA ASA list of what this one's allowed to be, it's 1150. So you still got 300-ish PSI or whatnot in order to get to the point of where it fails, which tells me that you can still go ahead and throw plenty more swings on it, which is what I would then recommend. Really break this thing in and get it closer to like within 100 of kind of that number. But we'll talk about a little more here in the final thoughts. All right, and we are swings and final compression complete here on the Pier Storm Shadow USA ASA bat. As we kind of talked about during the video, and you probably see it here, we did lose some of the paint. Again, with these tackier barrels, I've found, not just with Pier, but with other companies too, that every now and then that kind of, whatever they're using to get the tackiness on there will flake off at times, and that's exactly what we had here. But you can see under in the areas where you get to the kind of matte paint of the barrel that there's no cracks, nothing like that. It's purely a cosmetic thing there as well. So no issues as far as that goes. As far as the performance of this thing, I do feel like the handle isn't quite as stiff as like the USSA model. So just know that you're not getting an overly stiff handle, but it definitely wasn't overly flexy. I'm not a flex fan as far as that goes. I don't like swinging the 2500, 3500 Monsters, the UTH-33 Junos, anything like that. And I had no issues with the flex here on this one. This is a 13-inch barrel, balanced model. That's all they sell in the Storm Shadow. So if you do grab one of these, just know that balance feels a true balance. So if you're somebody who normally swings like a 26 end load, I'd probably do what we did here and grab a 27 just so you have that balance there. But if you haven't swung a ASA USA Pier with the Pad Tech, just know I think it's a pretty big upgrade over kind of your traditional bats. It's starting to push near kind of the way you get the feel when you break in a Monster with the fib. Obviously not the same feel, but you kind of get that trampoline that's in there, and you can tell that pad is doing what it's supposed to help that ball really carry. So even on swings where we weren't necessarily getting top and exit velo, it didn't matter. The ball was carrying over the fence pretty easy on a lot of them. Even when you caught it on a line, the ball just never seemed like it was coming down. So, and then as you saw at the end with the compression, there's still plenty of room for this thing to improve. If this was gonna be something I was gonna game, I just don't play a lot of ASA, so I won't end up gaming it, but I would continue to put swings on it and really drive that compression down till I'm within like 100 to 150 of that final number, and then throw it in my bag and just game it and let it get hotter and hotter from there. But either way, a great option, especially for somebody who wants something that's kind of that 13-inch barrel, obviously, balance, things like that. If you're looking for something different than just the kind of standard barrels, again, that have kind of that fib feel or the more of that kind of trampoline effect, or maybe even the Easton Alpha that dropped this year, this is going to be another good option, or really any of the Pad Tech Piers. But as of last time I checked, which was just before we came out here today, December 13th, these are still on sale over at Pier's website. If you go down the description of the video, I do have a link down there for you, as well as a code from a good buddy out here, Emilio Lovato. That'll help throw an additional discount on top of the sale for you, and allow you to pick up whatever you may want from Pier's website. So either way, hopefully this helped you decide on whether or not you want this to be your next USA ASA bat, or if you're kind of going to go a different route if you've been kind of comparing one versus the other. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a good night.